You're most welcome to Bravo Podcast. My name is Bravo. Once again, it's a pleasure always being here and of course bringing you amazing topics with amazing people.
Yeah.
I'd like to appreciate you for sharing our content. Go ahead and click and share your content. I'm sure you'll inspire, motivate, or encourage somebody out there. So please, as we dive into, remember to share my content. It's a pleasure once again having you,
Good Sam.
Sam. Thank you for accepting, always coming
Yeah.
to have one-on-one with you. I know that you have a lot of knowledge,
Yeah.
and I believe that the world, the young, the youth,
Yeah.
should be able to tap into your knowledge, Coach Samuel.
True.
And to me, I'm very happy and very humbled. I know so many people do not want to share information.
Yeah.
They don't want to share knowledge, and this is the best way we can give back to community. And thank you so much for giving back to the community by allowing to give yourself knowledge out free, which is supposed to be paid.
Yeah.
On this day, we're going to discuss a very important topic, and that important topic is personal finance. This is a very critical moment and time. Personal finance takes up our discipline as well in the families, at our workplaces, in our lives. Personal finance is a topic that actually has challenged so many people in the world. Today, we're going to dive into it with none other than Sam Ibanda, a certified public accountant and currently employed by KPMG. Thank you so much, and you're most welcome.
Thank you so much, Brian, for inviting me, and to all our viewers. Thank you so much again for keeping yourself on the Bravo podcast. And I'm glad to be able to speak to the topic today. So to whoever is watching, my name is Coach Samuel Ibanda. Like he mentioned, I'm an accountant by profession, and I do quite a number of work. Most people know me as Coach Samuel Ibanda. And the reason why I have that word coach on my names is because of the work that I do. So I do work around coaching and mentorship in the aspects of personal finance, career, and business. And today, as introduced, we're going to mainly focus on personal finance, trying to help professionals, young people, adults, how to be able to manage their money, make money, manage it, and multiply the money.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What is personal finance?
Okay, personal finance, these are two words. One word is personal, one word is finance.
Yeah.
Of course, personal means we are speaking about the money that is for you as an individual.
Yeah.
And finances could be related to money, like I mentioned it. But basically, personal finance encompasses not just even the money,
Yeah.
but goes down to look at what's your wealth,
Yeah.
what assets do you have, what liabilities do you have, what's your discipline, your behavior, your emotions around money. So personal finance encompasses everything around money for you as an individual.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, when we look at personal finance, these are things that people never want to discuss much.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's my money.
Yeah.
It's my money. It's my life. It's me.
Yeah.
Since I've made the money, so I know how to use it.
Yeah.
In this case, how important is managing or understanding personal finance in one's life
Yeah.
as an individual? And how important is this topic of personal finance to everyone out there that is
Yeah.
watching?
Thank you so much, Brian. I think I want to draw it from my personal story, and somebody would ask themselves, why does it speak about personal finance? One, I want to put a disclaimer: I'm not the wealthiest person out there.
Yeah.
But I'm an accountant who has learned about money,
Yeah.
and most of my training is around how organizations can manage money.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I also want to say that just as organizations manage their money, just as there are principles around, we call them international financial accounting standards for organizations that manage money, even individuals, there are certain things that are supposed to put in place to be able to manage money. Now, money is an aspect that quite a number of people, like the way you said, it's a conversation that people do not want to be able to speak about. But I'll ask you, Brian, the reason why why do we go to school? We go to school such that we can work to find jobs that can give us money.
Yeah.
So you get to realize that every day we wake up to go and look for the money. When you get to Kampala town and you're able to see people moving around, 90%, 99% of the people who are around, they are looking for money.
Yeah.
And if we are looking for the money, we need to be able to understand, one, how do we look for the money? How would we make the money? But we also need to understand, once we've gotten that kind of money, how do we manage that money such that that money can be used? Because money is like a seed which you put to the ground and should be able to grow through, bear fruits, and multiply, such that you don't have to keep chasing money and money after money every. So you need to be able to get that place where now money is helping you make more money. And that is where now investment comes in, where you're able to put money into something and money now starts to make more money for you. So that is why it is very important for us to have the conversation of personal finance.
Now, when you talk about having to put money where money grows and money starts working with you,
Yeah,
sometimes you find it challenging getting that money to invest.
yeah,
Because first of all, I've not got money for me to eat
yeah,
or to manage my expenses.
yeah,
How do I reach that level of having to have the money
yeah,
that I can save, like any other person is talking about investing, even when the salary is not enough to pay my rent,
yeah,
to pay for my school fees for children,
yeah.
if you're married, for my transport, for my gas, for my fuel. How do we get to that level? And do we need to be different? Do we need to save different? Do we need to use 80%, save 80% and use 20%?
Yeah. That's a very important question, Brian. And I want to draw it from the perspective that you already mentioned if you're earning a salary.
Yeah.
So in one way or the other, you're earning money. Now, I want to speak to somebody who, even if you're a wife at home who is earning money through Kameza, so you're earning some amount of money.
Yeah.
If you're a student who is still studying, somehow you're getting money from your parents.
Yeah.
If, let's say, even if you're somebody who is doing casual work around or you're an employee, there's some element of money coming in. I know that there are people who may really, honestly, they do not have the money.
Yeah.
Now, in that case, you need now to look at aspects of what can I be able to sell that can be able to give me money?
Yeah.
Because money is gotten through value.
Yes.
What kind of value do you have? Is it value through a service that you want to offer out? Maybe you're good at photography, like our cameramen who are giving us photography today,
Yeah.
or you're good at furniture, like Sharif Furniture, how they have been able to grow their business today, or you're good like me, who is a public speaker, who can be able to be invited by organizations and I can speak to them. What is that kind of value that you have that people can be able to pay? Because value solves solves problems. So what is that solution that you have that somebody can actually pick money from their pocket? Because yes, you may not have the money, but now your key goal is to understand, how do I remove money from Brian's pocket now
Yeah.
to come to my pocket?
Yeah.
And that is through being able to see, how do I provide value? So for somebody who doesn't have money, you need to understand the dynamics of money. Are you going to get into employment where your value that you're giving is now of that as an employee?
Yeah.
If you're a business person, are you going now to start selling? And what kind of product are you going to sell? And there are willing buyers that can be able to pick money from their pockets and give you the money. So if you have started earning the money, and now again, I want to speak to those now that earn the money, like the employees,
Yeah.
the business people. If you're earning an amount of money right now, I want to tell you that in our mind, money will never be enough.
True.
Much likely when you start look at the money, if I tell you I've worked in the corporate space for quite a while, I've seen people who earn even 20 million or 30 million a month. But at the end, by the time it clicks the 15th of the next month, they do not have the money.
Yeah.
So sometimes we are thinking about investment only at that time when we have now gotten a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yet we can actually start with the discipline when we are earning that small amount of money. And I'll give you an example. Most of us have grown up seeing what we call the teachers. And teachers have been seen to be those that earn a very small amount of money.
Yeah.
We've seen over media where teachers are even asking for increments.
Yeah.
But we've also seen very beautiful stories where you're seeing a teacher has been able to educate over 10 children to university.
Yeah, true.
They own a home, they have where they get food, and they're surviving.
Yeah.
What is the trick? What is exactly happening? Even some of us, well, growing up, we were quite a number of children, and our parents were able to take care of us. How did they do it? So there's an aspect around money that we need to be able to develop. We don't need to look at money in itself. We need to be able to see that money and see how can we be able to use that little that we have to be able to use it to generate something better. And that is where the multiplication aspect comes in. But before you multiply, you need to understand your behavior around money. And that is why we have the aspect of budgeting, making sure that if I earn 1 million shillings a day, that 1 million shillings that I'm earning a day, to what extent can I be able to consume and save a bit of it? And for most people, there will always be problems. Of course, we are in an era where we also have things like black tax in Africa, where you're earning an amount of money, but there's somebody already looking out for that kind of money. So you need to reach an extent where you're planning your money. You're basically giving direction to your money and saying, this is where my money should go. And once you start to get to that kind of level, and also one of the other aspects is living within your means.
Yeah.
I think most of us, myself, have been in the corporate space where you see somebody is earning 2 million shillings, but instead of even optimizing to spend that 2 million shillings, they're even getting more extra debt of over 500,000 to just add on that money to be comfortable. Yet there's somebody who's earning 300,000 and somebody is surviving.
Yeah. When you say that there's somebody earning 300,000 and they're surviving, you get notice that you're in a company, people are earning a lot of salary, but you realize that a messenger or a cleaner, they have put up a small house for themselves and they're very comfortable.
Exactly.
Or they have saved huge sums of money. When they're earning even meager resources, they are able to do that. Okay. Now, I would want to ask you a question. Financial literacy, or having the financial knowledge of personal finances, is it about you being highly educated? Is it about that? Or it takes somebody for them to understand what they need and then take it up and go for it?
Yeah, I think the principles of money, Brian, do not need you to go to high levels of education, whatever. These are human principles. For those that are believers, you'll find principles in the Bible, you even find principles in the Quran. And these are some of the principles that even our parents who did not go so much into school had some of these kind of principles. These principles I just understand because even before money was there, we had barter trade. People used to exchange whatever they had for money. So the principles can actually be learned. And the principles, if you're a parent who is watching, the principles can be taught. You can be able to teach your kids some of the principles. Now, one of course, the disadvantage we have, especially in African setting, is that there are few countries that have prioritized financial literacy in schools. So we study quite a number of things, but we study little of those things to speak about money. But now when it comes to you as an individual, if you feel you have a gap in your understanding, especially on financial literacy, your starting point is to be able to look out for materials that equip you in the aspect of financial literacy. And this could be podcasts like this one, being able to look out and see how can I be able to learn how to make money? How can I be able to learn how to multiply money? How to keep money or manage money? You're able to learn. You're able to learn from people's stories, from people's experiences. There is also power in mentorship. Myself, I run the Transformation Professionals Club. And one of the aspects that we mentor people is an aspect of personal finance. So you can be able to find this kind of support, listen to other people's journey, get guidance, ask, and at the end of the day also, just be honest with yourself and say, this is the amount of money I'm earning. But what are my goals in life? What do I want to do? You might want to construct a house. You want to be able to afford a trip to the Bahamas. You want to be able to do quite a number of things. If whatever you're earning today is something that you're just eating, much likely There's a saying that if you save money today, money will save you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it is about principles, and some of these principles we can be able to learn them in everyday life and be able to learn them from mentors and be able to read them through books. I'm a person who is very, very acquainted with looking out for resources that build me as a person to be able to understand money, because money is just like any aspect of life.
Yeah.
It's just like marriage. You learn it on the go as it goes. So the same thing with money. If you feel you struggle with some aspects of money like saving, investments, make sure you look out for variable materials that can help you in those kind of areas.
Wow, amazing. Looking back to when you look at our job market, for example.
Yeah.
Somebody says, I have 2 children who are going to school. I pay my house rent, 500,000.
Yeah.
I have 2 children that are supposed to go to school. I have a wife. My salary is 500,000.
Yeah.
I couldn't reject a job because I have nothing to eat.
Yep.
But I've taken up that job. How does somebody mitigate through such a scenario? You have 2 children that need to go to school.
Yep.
And I want you to give me the practical of how somebody who is watching,
Yeah.
who is earning 500,000,
Yeah.
and his rent is 500,000.
Yeah.
He has 2 children to go to school.
Yeah.
And has a wife.
Yeah.
How do I use that money? A
Okay.
family of a husband, wife, and 2 children
Yep.
that must go to school.
Yep.
Let's say they're at primary level.
Yep.
If I'm paid that money and I've accepted to have that salary and no any other, give me how I can manage with that money in a practical way that this is my money.
Okay, there's something that you've mentioned, and I want to start from there.
Yeah.
You just mentioned and say somebody's earning 500,000, but they are paying rent of 500,000.
Yes.
Now, one, that's a problem in itself.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I've just mentioned about is living within your means.
Yeah.
If you're earning 500,000, I expect you to be looking out for a house that you're paying either 200,000, over 100, or even 100,000.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you're earning 500,000, you need to find your means. You can't be sleeping with the people who are in the same area with people earning 1 million or 2 million.
Yes.
So the first is living within your means.
Yeah.
But I would say is get that 500,000 and get down to the table.
Yes.
And say, what are some of my needs? Let's say you've mentioned school fees, and you need to break it down and say, how often do I have to pay school fees? I pay school fees
Every 3 months.
after every 3 months.
Yeah.
And let's say maybe school fees is, let's say, 200,000
Per
and
child.
per child, and I have 2 children, and that is 400,000 after every 3 months. So cascaded down that in maybe 3 months, that's about 110 or 120 per month. So you need to see on a monthly basis, how do I pick 120 and put it on an account such that after every 3 months I can be able to
Pick it for school fees.
Yes. So already that money is already off. But then you also need to understand you have rent. And this is where I'm saying that if you're told your rent is, if you're told you're earning 500,000,
Yeah.
find a place that is affordable.
Yeah.
And let's say you get a place that is over 100,000.
Yeah.
And that means that if you already removed school fees of 110 or 20,
yes.
and then you have another 100,000 that
For
you've
rent.
removed for rent,
That's 220.
now you have about 280,000.
Yes.
Now, from this 280,000, you need to cascade down and understand how much else am I going to spend on. I'm going to spend on food. I also have to spend on medical care.
Medical.
Or I also need to put aside some amount of money. Maybe you have a circle where you contribute 50,000 on a monthly basis, where you can be able to. So you have to plan and guide where your money should go. And when you look at, when you total down and see that your expenses are now more than your income,
Yeah.
one of the things you need to strive to do is, one, cut down on your expenditures.
Yes.
So where you're saying that now you're buying food directly from the market, can you actually get somebody from the village to bring you that food at a cheaper cost? Alternatively, what you could also look at and say, if maybe I'm spending this amount of money, let's say on utilities, can I be able to find another way, maybe buy a tank where I can store some of the water, such that I can be able to survive? So you continuously think through to see how can I limit how much I'm spending, because I'm earning 500,000. But then the other thing that I also, I'm a very ardent pressure of multiple income streams. So for somebody who is earning, every time you limit your thinking based on how much you're earning, let's say you're earning 500,000,
Yeah.
remember your boss or your employer is also trying to find ways of surviving. We
Yeah.
are in an era where business is hard.
Yeah.
The employers are also striving to see how can we save more money on the employees.
Yes.
So you as an individual, think about yourself and say, what extra skill do I have?
Yeah.
What extra talent can I be put to use? I will tell you myself, I have a full-time accounting job.
Yeah.
But off over the weekend, I'm off speaking. I'm off providing support
Yeah.
to entities on aspects of finance to be able to support them. I'm also trying out farming. I'm doing quite a number of things, helping people with skilling, things to do with baking and so on. So quite a number of things that you're able to do that can be able to give you an extra income.
Yeah.
So this, you might be earning the 500,000, but you know that whatever you're putting your time to other aspects in the evenings and over the weekends, it's giving you an extra 100,000. Before you know it, your income has now risen to maybe 700,000, where you know that you're getting 200,000 used from the side businesses, the side hustles. So I do believe we're in the era of content,
Yeah.
where you can actually be able to earn from content.
Yeah. When you talk about content,
Yes.
yeah, it's just true.
Yeah, so I think as an individual, you need not to limit your mind to just be able to look at your life as a ceiling or your income as a ceiling.
Yeah.
You need to see possibilities and see what can I put to use. If it means looking for another job, you look for it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the reason why your employer might be paying you the 500,000, that could be your value.
Yeah, true.
And so it means that if you want to improve your value, means that you have to improve yourself.
Yeah.
What extra aspects are you providing?
Yeah.
This could actually be looking around the organizations and seeing what extra support can I provide to my employer. My employer is not on social media. How about I learn some of these skills such that when I'm not doing the accounting work, I'm actually putting my skills to help my employer be visible. Because when you make more money for your employer,
Yeah.
you can now come back to the table and have a conversation.
This is it. Yeah, true.
Hey, I'm providing you accounting services. Everything is going on well. I've now jumped to support you with marketing. You're making sales. Why would someone not pay you money?
Yeah.
So that is how the world works.
The value that you
Provide
bring.
more value,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, people will pay you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and when you talk about the value, most people have expensive mobile phones. And even with the mobile phones that we buy, most people do not know
Yep.
that you can create content
Yep.
right in your home. Okay? Most people think that it's about going to be employed all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, give an example. If somebody says I have 500,000, oh, maybe I can even start chapati selling.
Yeah.
Oh, I can in the evening go to a market and enjoy the evening economy,
Yeah.
the night economy, and put up maybe selling chapatis. You see, when we say such things, people think, oh, we are lowering me to a chapati seller. What if you say, I'm going to sell chapati, I'm going to have a small boy or a small girl, we get our sigiri, put there, start making our chapatis and guide them. We can chapati. You may find that even that chapati every day can bring you profit of 5,000, 10,000.
Yep.
The same money that you can use to take care of your family.
Yep.
Okay? I mean, when people see us talking here, me, I was a mutembe.
Interesting.
And I even tell people I'm still a hawker today. Because when you tell me I want you to deliver for me shoes, I'll definitely get on a border
Yeah.
and I'll deliver shoes to you.
Yep.
So all in all, because we are yearning to be okay, even
Yeah.
when amid these challenges here and there, we still need to struggle to make sure that we can be able to make our journeys great. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we have that ego. Then when you find somebody with his bachelor's,
Yeah.
the degree in the house there, it becomes worse.
It
You
becomes
get- it
worse.
becomes very, very worse. So somebody says, no, with my education, you can't pay me like this.
Yeah.
I've always, chatted with the different people. I said, now, guys, there's nothing that you do that people have never done in your life.
Yeah.
You are not the first person to have a bachelor's, neither the first person to have masters, no professor. Even nowadays now, people are getting PhDs.
Yeah.
I said, what matters is how you garnish yourself. How you garnish yourself determines a lot.
Yep.
Okay? So in the uniqueness, I realized that we are no longer unique because everybody is doing everything that we've done.
Yep.
Those days gone are the days where you would be the only person who got education. But now so many people are in school. Every day people are getting more degrees and more degrees.
Yep.
Now for you, you're here seated and you're talking about how important you are. with your bachelor's. And then I've also seen this now. People are choosing to employ people who are less educated, by the way. You know the reason? They are trainable, they listen, they capture, and they are good to go.
Yep.
Now, our brothers and sisters who have decided to keep in their suits, they have messed up. They are depressed. They are the same who are depressed. They are the husbands. You see, wives are complaining. The man keeps home because he lost a job. The man cannot be a street smart. Yeah. The man cannot even go and ask friends to help him. You find because he has his bachelor's, he has his master's, yeah, he's at home.
Yeah.
And the wife is like, my husband cannot live in the house because he feels he lost a job. He's being depressed. He's a man, losing a job, you're not the first to lose a job.
Yeah.
And when you lose a job, you look for another one. And then you feel nobody can employ you, start up something and don't care what the public says. But we have that mentality that has put in ourselves that only when we get somebody to give us, and again, when they get the jobs, they become a problem on the jobs. Okay? So I think that we need to change our mindset. We need to change, our mentality, yep, as individuals. In that case, then we'd be able to understand what personal finances are.
Exactly.
When we talk about personal finances and family,
yeah,
how do you relate the two, personal finances and families? Because, for example,
yeah,
once you do not know how to manage personal finances, even marriage will fail you, a home will fail you, it is catastrophic.
Yep.
How do you join the two? The importance of personal finances, knowing the personal finances together with the family. How do you run these two without having cohesion?
Okay. So again, for disclosure, I'm married, and I have 3 children.
Yeah.
And 2 of the children are actually twins.
Yes.
And one of the questions I usually get from people is, how do you manage it?
Yeah.
You're a very young person, and maybe your income is not yet up there. Yeah. How are you able to manage managing, let's say, twin children, and then you basically have this quite a number of needs, especially in our economy. Yeah. And I would say is growing up, there are certain values I picked from home. Yeah. As a young child growing up, and some of these were around living within the means, because our parents brought up in aspects where we need to be able to understand who we are. Because most professionals or people are struggling because they want to live people's other life. Yeah. There's a saying that you want to impress people who even don't mind about you.
They don't even care who you are.
They don't care. Yeah. But for you, yours is to be able to take a loan and buy that big car. Yeah. But painfully, you know the background of everything. Yeah. So I would say that personal finance and family have to work hand in hand, because they say next to maybe people cheating, to the other families breaking up because of cheating, personal finance is one of the other reasons why people actually are breaking up. Yeah. Because when there is no money in the family, the conversations are even different. Yeah. The kids are frustrated because they are not going to school. The wife is also frustrated. You as a man yourself, you're also frustrated because you even want to run away from home. Yeah. Rent is chasing you. Every need is actually looking out for you. Yeah. So as somebody who is in family, you need to be able to see, how do we manage our funds as a family, as an individual, as a breadwinner? How am I thinking beyond myself and thinking about family, to see that I'm sustaining my family? Because at the end of the day, when your family is happy, when you're able to take care of your family, you have peace of mind as an individual. Yeah. And it helps you flow as a family. You're able to have, acquire, maybe if you need to acquire a house, acquire a good car, be able to take your kids to good schools. Basically, when we get these children, we have a responsibility to take care of them and create for them a good future that they can stand on. So if you do not have finances, means that there's a problem. If you don't manage your finances rightly, it will be your kids that will be helping in other people's homes, because you failed to be able to manage your finances. So personal finance is very key when it comes to families, and families have to be intentional. And even in grooming your children when it comes to aspects of personal finance. Brian, there are times when you see either times for success cards, and you see parents making these success cards with a lot of money all over. Yeah. It is okay to spoil your kid in terms of spoiling them in that way, but mind about what kind of values are you
Are they picking?
teaching
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
Is money something that you can easily pick and just decorate somewhere? Is that how money is?
Now,
Yep.
when we go back to, as a man, I would want you to be honest as well in this and say, how would you advise somebody who has not married and his finances are not well? Be honest as a man.
Yeah.
Because these days things have changed,
Yeah.
and we have to open up and tell the young men.
Yeah.
On the issue of marriage, if somebody is to marry and they don't have finances, would you encourage somebody to wed, to go and marry somebody's daughter
Yeah.
when you don't have even, you can't manage your own personal finances? Would
Yeah.
you encourage somebody to marry when they are not ready?
Okay. One, I would say if you're not ready, you shouldn't get married. But when it comes to aspects of finance, so Brian, you bring out a very critical aspect these days, where young men have to go and take loans to finance their weddings.
Yeah.
Young men are opening up WhatsApp groups and dragging people into these WhatsApp groups to contribute for them to be able to get married. And there are even parents who are taking this whole thing of marriage where they're asking a lot of money
Yeah.
in terms of bride price
Yeah.
from young children or young men
Yeah.
before they get married.
Yeah.
Before you know it, they have gotten married, and within 2 or within a year, they are struggling financially. They are
Yeah.
paying off the loans,
Yeah.
and they can't meet their basic needs as a young couple.
Yeah.
And within 2-3 years, they are breaking. And you wonder, why did they have to spend expensively on a big wedding?
Yeah.
So for somebody who is starting out as a young man, one, evaluate your finances.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, Brian, my life well as a single man is different from my
Yeah, when you
life
have children.
when I
You
have
have
children
family,
or
yeah.
I have a wife.
Yeah.
Because you could afford to miss supper and live on, but now
Yeah,
you can't
and it's
afford
commando.
because the children have to eat.
Yeah. True.
So when you're jumping into family, you need to understand and look at things in a broader way and say, how much do I need to sustain a family? Can I be able to really sustain a family? Because the last thing you want to do is to run a family and you're calling home that your parents to give you money to sustain your
That
family.
is if you have the parents who can afford.
Yes, if you have if you have the parents, or if
Yeah.
it's even not the parents calling you to provide for
Yeah.
them money.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to look at your financial future and see, how can I be able to continuously work hard,
Yeah.
such that by the time I'm committing myself and bringing somebody's daughter, I have some level of finances that can be able to support this
Yeah.
young lady, such that even when we get a kid, you're not struggling. There is hospital bills, even
Yeah,
just
yeah,
giving
stuff.
birth. You need $1 million plus
Yeah.
in a private hospital. The million is even an understatement.
yeah, true.
To us who give birth to twins, it's again another story.
Yeah, true.
You're spending a lot of money, and the journey does not even stop at the hospital. It's
It's very-
cascading down as those kids grow. There are a lot of expenses.
A lot of money and expense.
During our kids, our times we used to use nappies. These
Yeah,
days,
they
the
have
Pampers.
I've told people that when you give birth to a child,
Yeah.
a child is actually a 25-year project. A 25-year project
Interesting.
when they are successful.
Yeah.
But they are a lifetime project when they're a failure.
Interesting.
Again, we are having actually also stereotypes again.
Yeah.
I'm asking myself if we could also change culture in Africa here.
Yeah.
Somebody gets married, within a year they're expecting a wife to get pregnant.
Yeah.
This couple has just spent a lot of money in their wedding. In a year the wife is giving birth. The demands to this young man is too much. Now the boy starts planning on how to escape, eject himself from the marriage.
Yeah.
Then he says, I married a very impatient woman.
Yeah.
And yet you can't blame the woman as well. Sometimes she's asking for pamper. Every time, in that time, first when I got married, every time every evening you see a message, list. Now before list, pamper, then pamper 100,000. And you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So it's at that moment that you don't expect all these huge expenses.
Yep.
You marry. So if you're out there and you're a young man, it's okay to marry. But can you be with your wife for 5 years? And then also say, can I afford her? After 5 years, can we afford the child? But for us here, it's as if they have told you the wife has come, now start putting children. In 5 years, you have about 5 children. And this has brought a lot of cohesion and so many single parents.
Yep.
So many, not that there's a problem, but because of our demand from our societies. That even when a girl gets married, they're asking her, why is she not pregnant? Even the boys, they're asking, why are you not impregnating this girl?
Yeah.
So people think it's about get married, get the wife, pregnant her, children, before even you have any finances. Yes, you may say, I've taken these 5 years collecting money for my wedding.
Yeah.
Now I'm done. I've brought a wife. I'm going to take more 5 years to also collect money to start looking after the family, maybe have savings. After saving, then what's good? If you're looking for a wife, you're like, I want a wife who will bring 100, I'll bring 100, then we save it, then we prepare to give birth after 5 years. But all that is not there because culturally,
Yeah.
even our wives, they say they are not supposed to be contributing to the homes. So it's the man's whatever, it's the man's burden at the end of the day. So all this, I think, is bringing in a lot of challenges
Yeah.
and problems.
Yeah.
So I think we need to change the stereotype as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, Brian. And I think it goes down to planning.
Yeah.
And being able to even plan for your children, because in the outside world, children have they have opening balance.
Yeah.
They don't have to start from zero, but our children are actually not even starting from zero, they're starting from negatives.
But you forget that you're also from negative. So, so if you're from a negative, you're giving birth to a child
So,
negative.
it's the same negative. So it's more being intentional,
Yeah.
such that for every decision you want to make around your life, look at what's the financial impacts of that kind of decision. You want to get married.
Yeah.
What is it that it takes you to actually get married in terms of finances?
Yeah.
Even like the way you've brought up society, the pressure that's coming from society, may we not just look at putting pressure to the young people to either get married or get children?
Yeah.
We need to also be able to get down back and ask ourselves questions and say, is this person, based on their financial situation, can they be able to take care of a child? Can this person be able to marry? Because marriage is not just getting somebody to your house. There are a lot of dynamics that come around, and that is why we're seeing quite a number of broken families, because when the reality actually shows up,
Yeah.
you get to a point in time where now you're questioning whether you made the right decision to actually get married. So I think again, it's a work that we do, you and Brian, mentorship, and continually speaking to our young people.
Yeah.
You see, we're also in a society, Brian, where the young people are consuming any kind of content.
Yeah.
Anyone out there can actually give them advice.
Yeah.
There are quite a number of singers who are giving advice, who themselves have never been to marriage,
Yeah.
or who themselves have broken marriages.
Yeah.
So you end up listening a lot around that, you get confused, and now young people are now making decisions based on what they see on TV, what they see in movies,
Yeah.
which the reality is totally different.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. The pressure is too much. But I think we need also to be very dynamic and
Yeah.
really accept to drop some of the things.
Yeah, that's true.
Some of the cultures, we
Yeah.
need to drop them because sometimes they are really leading us nowhere at
Yeah.
some point. But however, I would like to appreciate our viewers. We are here to make you learn. Please
Yeah.
pick what you can pick, what you can't take. It's your choice as well.
Yeah.
It at the end of the day, people talk, and it's you to sieve and get what works best for you.
That's
so,
true.
guys, it's been a pleasure once again having you
Yeah.
on our podcast talking about personal finances. We'll expand our topic. We'll keep on coming in to expand.
Yeah.
If you feel that you have something you want to tackle personally, just DM me or write in the comments, and we'll be able to talk about it much more and expand on it
Yeah.
for better.
Yeah.
So, guys, share our content. Thank you for watching. Thank you for always being on Bravo Podcast. As always, I've been Bravo. In few words, how do you
Okay.
look into the camera and tell someone out there whose challenge is managing personal finances?
Yeah, thank you so much, Bravo, and thank you so much, our viewers who are watching, and thank you so much to our camera crew, always there trying to bring these messages home. So to whoever is watching, you're trying to manage finances. Brian, we are in an era where the economy is economizing.
Yeah.
Things are really hard. Things are tough. Recently, we had quite a number of people lose their jobs after the white man put a lock on funding, on aid,
Yeah.
and even businesses are struggling themselves. We have people struggling with taxes, struggling with even paying their employees' salaries. There's quite a lot that is going on. But to you who is watching to me today and you're struggling when it comes to your aspects of personal finance, I want to say that one, personal finance is personal, so it starts with you being able to understand yourself and saying, this is personal to me. My journey is totally different from your journey. Brian's journey is totally different from your journey. So you as an individual, you need to understand that when it comes to money, I need to be able to live me. You as an individual, if you're earning 1 million, if you're earning 500,000, if you're earning 300,000, or you even earning 200,000, do not do things because somebody else is doing the way they are doing the things. Do things because you think they are within your means. And that is why I encourage you to do budgeting. If I'm earning 200,000, I need to get down and break down that money and say, how much of this money can I spend on rent? Be realistic with yourself. Because I want to tell you that in those times when you feel you're in debt, you've borrowed and borrowed, it's only you who will be in that kind of pain. The people that you want to impress will not be there. They will, for them, they will see outside, but it's you in depth that will be struggling. So live within your means. Make sure that you are striving to direct where your money should go through budgeting. And then I encourage you that do not limit your mind to only one source of income. I know you are trained, you studied whatever you studied, but do not just look at, let's say, earning money from being an accountant. Think about else can I sell? I usually share with people how you can be able to, if it means becoming a broker, become a broker. Look out for somebody who you think has this product and out for a customer who you think needs the product. Bravo Shoes here has shoes. And you know some women that may need shoes for their children. Come to Bravo Shoes and say, I can create market for you for your shoes in this area. Definitely every entrepreneur will be interested into somebody who wants to create market for them. And before you know it, you're selling pairs and pairs of shoes and you're making your margins. Sometimes when we speak about multiple income streams, you're speaking about, I don't have capital, I don't have ABCD. So there are lots of excuses towards what you can be able to do. But when you start to look at possibilities, you observe and see what other people are doing. If it means doing content, go and do content. Myself, I run a YouTube channel called Accounting Coach with over 4,000 plus subscribers. I'm already monetized. YouTube is able to pay me. What exactly are you selling? I encourage you, if you are on Facebook, on your LinkedIn, or you're on TikTok, do not just be that person who goes to these platforms to just scroll through. Get to a level where you also put in content that people are watching, that people can also benefit from. If it means about your products, it means about your services, leverage these platforms. And before you know it, you're making an income, people are buying from you, you're improving your income, you are changing your story. You may have a poor background, but you have the responsibility to turn your background, your future, or whatever it is. And your children will now look up to you. Right now is the opportunity for you to take the step. The economy is not going to be okay. Yeah. There's never going to be that time where everything is going to be in place. Take the decision now and change your future because it's within your hands. Thank you so much for watching me. And again, I'm yours, Coach Samuel Ibanda. I'm always here to share with you such insightful messages. In case you're watching this and you've seen me for the very first time, you can find me on all social media platforms, Coach Samuel Ibanda on LinkedIn, Coach Samuel Ibanda on TikTok, Coach Samuel Ibanda on YouTube, and you can find me as Samuel Ibanda on Facebook and Samuel Ibanda on X. Let's connect and let's have this conversation. Personal finance is not something that we figure out in one day. It's something that we build on every day. Listening to such messages helps you build yourself continuously, and before you know it, you've started to understand some of these principles. And it's not about a get rich mindset. It's about building core wealth. And it's not about how much you earn. It's about how much are you able to put aside, grow, multiply, and be able to transfer to your children. So thank you so much for listening to me. And all I can say is may God bless you and may you continue to grow your finances.
Wonderful.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, guys. I remain Bravo, and thank you, parents in Uganda who are supporting Bravo Shoes. If you're looking for school shoes for your children, please pay us a visit, Bravo Shoes. You can look for it on Facebook. We have our website, www.bravo-shoes.com. That's our website. And those who are supporting our community, Bravo Shoes Community Support Organization, you're such amazing. Thank you so much. And would also want to appreciate Sheriff Furniture, where we're doing our podcast, and would like to appreciate Sheriff Furniture for you who are looking for furniture, beds, dining, everything. You'd come to this place and you'd be amazed by the kind of work they do. Thank you so much, and see you in our next podcast. Thank you.